Ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're working on a Craftsman Professional. This is their bigger, heavy-duty version of their lawnmower. It's a really nice unit, and she'll kick with starter fluid, but that's about it. And I see this a whole lot. Now, originally I thought it was just the jets in this one, but we cleared the jets out, and that didn't seem to help much. So we're going to go ahead and tear the carburetor down, do a full rebuild on her, and see if that takes care of it. So for all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free, and it's what we work for. So let's get started. Since we don't know much about this one, we're going to go ahead and drain the gas out of it and see what we've got, rather than just kinking off the fuel line. Because like I said before, it did try to start with starter fluid. Here we're going to kink that off long enough to get the fuel line off. And you'll get a little kickback when you do this, but not much. Or you'll get none at all this time. So you can see we are getting gas to the carburetor. And we know that because it's flowing through this line just perfectly well. Okay, that's about the end of the gas. So we're going to put this off to the side. And the gas looks a little bit yellow, but not too bad. Okay, so next up, we're going to pull the carburetor off. And linkages on one of these is a little bit different than your standard issue linkage, but not so much as to hurt anything. It's still pretty easy. There we go. I'll get the airbox out of the way. Now this is one of those rare ones that the carburetor is actually held on with Torx screws. And make sure you take a picture right here, because this linkage isn't nearly as obvious as a lot of them are. And it comes apart pretty easy, goes together pretty easy. But if you don't know what you're putting where, it'd be pretty difficult. Okay, let's gently pull the spring off. We don't want to extend the spring farther past its normal run. We're going to roll that out. Now we're going to roll this way. Said we're going to roll this that way. That's what I meant. And there we have it. So let's take her over to the bench and give her a good cleaning. Yeah, I went ahead and sprayed her down with carb cleaner to get the top layer of junk off of it. So next up, we're going to pull the bowl. And if the bolt is brass on yours, that's the main jet. So it always gets a little extra attention when we're cleaning. And there you have it. And because we've got gas inside the bowl here, we know that the gas is flowing through the needle and seat correctly. However, we don't know much about the rest of the carburetor. So we're going to go ahead and leave her just as is, just like this. And we're going to run her through the ultrasonic, which will clean the internal ports up for us nicely. If you don't have an ultrasonic, soak her in carb cleaner overnight and you'll be fine. So it's in the ultrasonic. You might be able to hear it humming in the background. So while it's sitting, we're going to take a look at the jet. We'll give it a visual inspection. Now, looking side to side, it's very common for this to be clogged this way. In this case, it's not though, so we're going to focus down here. We're going to take our little wire, our floral wire. You can buy this a roll of this for about $1 or $1.50 in just about any craft store. And we're going to go all the way inside. Note I'm twisting the jet around on the wire, making sure that I catch anything that might be hanging on the sides. Now, we blow through it, and we know that jet's good to go. So we're going to put all this off to the side, give it a clean up, and we'll see you in just 30 seconds with the carburetor, or in video time right now. Now that everything's been through the bath and everything's nice and cleaned up, the next thing you want to do is blow through your fuel intake and make sure it comes through here correctly, and then blow down into this, and it's just blow down into it. And this is how your fuel finds its way into the mixture, into the engine. So if you blow down into this, if it feels clogged, run a wire through it, and it should clear out pretty easily. In this case, this one feels nice and clear now. Now, the next thing we're going to do is go through the linkage and make sure that everything works as expected. and nothing feels like it's hung up or anything. And everything feels nice and free. So let's get her back together. First thing we'll do is put the needle and seat back in, or put the needle and float back on. Come on, buddy. There you go. Okay, from there, don't forget this little ring that goes on your jet. It will leak without this. It will leak a lot. The gasket around the top bowl of the carburetor won't really prevent leaks much. It's designed to, but it's more designed to prevent splashes because the fuel level should never really reach that high. Where you at? This one's being a little uncooperative. There we go. Let's tighten her back up. Nice and snug, but don't go crazy. Okay. You'd never guess this is that original carburetor, would you? But anyway, let's get her back on the engine and see what we've got. Now for the fun part, getting her all back together. So we want to go in the opposite of the direction we went. We want to follow every step we followed in reverse, putting it back together. So this was the very last thing to come off. This was the second to the last thing to come off. And if you did this one first, then you'd never get that one. So it's important that you do the reverse order and be patient. Now we'll put our plate back on, and we'll take a picture from the top when we're done here, so that if you did it and you don't have good pictures, you can use that. These professional engines aren't the same as the standard issue engines. Where are you at? There you are. Okay. Now notice I didn't put that all the way tight. We still have a little bit of wiggle room. That way we can line this one up easily. There we go. And now with the screw gun, I'm going to go really gentle to let it grab its thread. And once I see the screw going in, then I hurry it up. Just double check this one for tightness. And we should be good to go. The only thing we've got left is this one little spring. Okay, let's put our spring on. Let's get it close first. There you go, she's kind of close. And there we go. And this basically is the governor for this particular engine. So you want to make sure that it's perfect. Let's put our fuel line back on. And I actually, while I was waiting for the carburetor to cook, I drained out all my fuel tanks and put new fuel in all of them. And filtered all the old fuel out. Okay, this is always the moment of truth. Let's start her up and see what she's got. This one does sound good. But no drive. Okay, the motor sounds really, really nice. Super smooth, super everything. But there's no drive at all. So we're going to have to get under this at another time and get a look at the drive system. I'm really happy with the way that one sounds. This particular carburetor is just a little bit different than most of them. The main clog that you usually see is above the jet in the little tube running up from the jet to the throat of the carburetor. And it did turn out on this one, that one was clogged. And of course, whenever you work on a carburetor like this, you want to make sure that the linkage runs super free and nothing's tied up any place, because that can cause it to not start. So for all you new people out there, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. And we do appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.